this is Dodger, and you're watching my show.
Three, two, one, ready, go.
So, this is the new home setup. Sam is back there. Say hi, Sam.
Hi.
Yeah, we decided to reorganize this whole room, so I'm doing news from here. You can't stop me. And I know it has been like 3 weeks since we've done a news video, so we're gonna give you some really good news. Or, well, not good news in terms of like, it's all positive news, but like good news is in there's some juicy stuff in here. You know, I'm giving you some juicy nuggets and not dry nuggets. Let's do it. Starting a little slow for our first piece of news. I don't want to give you all of the good stuff right away. Not saying that Pillars of Eternity isn't a fantastic game, because it totally is. And the expansion has just come out. The second part of the expansion has just come out, so you should absolutely be playing it again if you haven't played it in a while. Basically, Pillars of Eternity is a game that's like Diablo, but more complex than Diablo. The second that you see the skill tree, you'll know what I mean. And really, if ever you decide that you want to stream this game, prepare for everybody to tell you that you have messed up your build immediately. Like, the second you start putting points into that tree, people are like, you gotta start over. You gotta start over, man. But anyway, so there is a expansion called The White March. It came in 2 parts, and the second part has finally come out, which is super exciting. They also put out Update 3.0, which is really good news because it helped sort of smooth things out. Some of the wrinkles. It made it so that it's all nice and beautiful. Any issues that they've been having recently, they have fixed. If you are interested in having it, it is on Steam and GOG for $10.99, and that is in pounds. Not dollars, so you will have to convert that or just look it up for yourself.
$15.85.
Sam's on it. There's also a launch trailer, which I will put in the description, although I will say that Blizzard has completely ruined launch trailers for me. Specifically when I consider a game to be very similar to a Blizzard game, because when I was watching this launch trailer, I was like, oh, it's entirely gameplay. I was like really surprised because I'm so used to Blizzard being like, we're not going to show you gameplay. We're going to show you a cinematic experience. So that's not what is in this launch trailer. There's lots of, quotes to intrigue you about story and whatnot. And then lots of gameplay. If you'd like to see what the game looks like just in general, it's, again, very similar to Diablo, but just has a lot going on in there. Very complex, but a really, really wonderful, fun game. That I enjoyed a lot. I'm trying to remember what my character was called. Actually, I did videos of her. Wait a minute, I can look it up. Dopeness! Oh my god. I'm gonna edit out the whole section where I was looking for that, because that was like 10 minutes, but worth it. Worth it. Dopeness the Witch, with multiple S's at the end. But yes, if you would like to know anything else about Update 3.0, or about the expansion, or about the game just in general, I will link you to their main website and you can read their patch notes and whatnot. If you're like me, you're kind of sick of hearing about games that have a really shaky launch. Like, it gets to the point where you're like, maybe one day a game will come out and there'll be no problems. And everybody will be like, that was a good game experience. I really enjoyed that. In fact, they never needed to do a day 1 update. What a great world we live in. That was not the case with the release of XCOM 2, my goodness. So when XCOM 2 came out, about 70 to 75% of people who played the game were having a lot of problems with crashes, with freezing, just all sorts of issues. The camera was bugged. It was a big problem. In general, the people who were able to play without issue said that it's a very, very fun game. So you can imagine the frustration of the people who were experiencing multiple crashes being like, I just want to play it, I hear it's great, but I can't get it to run. Firaxis has said that they are working very, very hard to try and fix all of these bugs. They've been working tirelessly, but the weirdest part of this story is that they also took the time to say, but it's weird because, like, literally none of us had a problem. Now, 70 to 75% of people is a lot. It's a lot of people with a lot of different gaming rigs. Some of them are going to have very good PCs. Some of them are going to have, just like okay laptops that they're trying to run it on. And you would think that if literally none of their testers, none of the people at Firaxis who made this game ever had these problems, that just seems unfathomable. Unfathomable? That's a word. Unfathomable, I believe is the word that I'm looking for. They don't all have the same computer. They're all going to be running it on different types of computers. So how on earth were all of them able to play this game and have no problems, and then it releases, and a shocking number of people are experiencing crashes and bugs, and they're going, what? It just doesn't make any sense. And I think to a lot of people it's coming across as a strange lie, but like, why bother? Like, why lie about whether or not your game was released with some bugs still involved? I guess to sort of negate the blame, right? To be like, well, it was fine for us. Like, we didn't release a terrible game. It was fine. It was totally fine when we had it, and then it was released, and that's when the problem started. So like, this isn't really our bad, but then it still looks like you're bad because then it seems like negligence. I don't know. It's just very strange. Bottom of the line is that Firaxis is working to fix the problem. So if you're somebody who has really wanted to play XCOM 2 and you haven't really been able to get it to work, they are apparently working around the clock to get it in your sweet little hands. My favorite piece of news this week is that Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima were on the DICE stage and got interviewed about cinema and video games and storytelling and their friendship in general, and what went on with PT and Silent Hills and all of that. And if you're interested in that story in general and in them, I encourage you to watch the full thing because it's fantastic. They even do the Pan's Labyrinth eyes. They have like eyes drawn on their hands and it's great. But I think the big piece of news that everybody is really excited about is that they were pretty open about the fact that they are great friends and they definitely still want to work on a project together. Guillermo even went so far as to say, you know what, I only do projects that I have fun with, and when Hideo and I are together, we have a lot of fun. So literally anything that he wants to do, any concepts that he comes up with, I'm in. I'm there. I'm ready. To make it even better, there was a tweet that went out with Hideo Kojima and Norman Reedus sitting around having maybe coffee, maybe a beer, maybe a burger and fries. I don't know. All that it said was that Kojima was giving him an update on business. So everybody's taking that as an update, you say? Really? An update on a possible project where Norman Reedus is like the main character? I feel like they couldn't get away with that though. I really feel like, I mean, Konami has blocked Kojima on Twitter at this point, so like they are not friends anymore. But I feel like if Kojima put out a game where the main character was literally Norman Reedus, Konami would be like, hold on, you can't do this. You can't literally just make the same game and call it something else. No. You might be thinking to yourself, well, but Guillermo del Toro, ever since Silent Hills was canceled, he has said in multiple interviews, I don't ever want to do a game again. I'm not doing a game. I'll do plenty of other projects, but like, games always explode when I'm involved, right? Like they just never work out. I'm bad luck. It's not happening. But I feel like there's a kinship. There's like a palpable kinship between him and Hideo, and I feel like with enough time and trust and love, they could make something really, really cool that would just be the psychological horror every one of us has been waiting for. And maybe after all of this, it'll have been built up too much, right? Maybe after all of this, after this big ol' huckamagoo, there would wind up being a situation where the game comes out and everybody's like, man, I waited so long for this game and it was okay. But if PT is anything to go from, and if they could still get Junji Ito involved, I feel like anything they would make would at some point or another get in your head. And I would love that. So good luck to them. Again, if you would like to watch that DICE conference video, I will link it in the description. I don't know where it is, but I'll find it. I will find it for you, internet. With Overwatch coming out and lots of other games that are sort of a team v team battle game, the conversation has come up multiple times whether or not TF2 can survive. Because at this point, most people are referencing these sorts of games as TF2 clones. Like, TF2 is the one where the longevity has just baffled people, right? People just, like, sit and look at the TF2 community and say, how are you all still so dedicated to this? Like, it went free in 2011, and Valve has just been, like, doing frequent updates and playing the hat game for who knows how long. And so I think it's a bit baffling to a lot of people that TF2 has continued to be so intense among its community, that its community is still so devoted to it. But then with these other games coming out, like for me, I absolutely love TF2, but I am one of those people who's like, oh, but I really love Overwatch. Like, Overwatch is really fun. So how is TF2 going to stay relevant? So in April of last year, it was brought up to Valve via the community, via their forums, I believe, that they should have some sort of competitive matchmaking for TF2. And I think it was sort of a surprise that Valve was like, you're right, hold up, we'll get back to you on that. And now they've come to us and said, all right, we're doing it. We don't know when it's happening, but we have gotten a lot of information about how you can get into a beta for a competitive matchmaking in TF2, which I think is just such a good idea for them. I think it's going to be the next thing that really makes them feel like they can compete with all of the other games that are going to be a bit more esports competitive, you know? Even though TF2 has plenty of tournaments that go on and plenty of people in the community who are like, no, I'm there, I take it very seriously. I think having competitive matchmaking is going to give people sort of a new progression ladder that's going to keep them really interested and involved. So they put out a list of things that they're going to be looking for people who want to get into the beta. So I will read it to you over here. Alright, you have to purchase a copy of Team Fortress 2 prior to June 23rd, 2011, or have made a purchase from the Manco store. You have to enable Steam Guard Mobile Authenticator, and you have to associate a phone number with your Steam account. That's it. Basically, they want to encourage more people to be involved in like their anti-fraud system before they enable beta for them. So you have to have your phone number involved. You have to purchase something from the store within TF2 or have bought the game like forever ago and basically get grandfathered into the beta. But one of the really good things is that once you're in the beta, you're in. Like that's it. Like you're just in it to win it, which is really, really nice. So I would say, I mean, again, we don't know when it's going to launch, which kind of sucks, but start ticking these boxes now. It would literally take you maybe like 10 minutes to tick all of those boxes. So there's a game called Vendetta, Curse of Yes.
Curse of Yes?
Curse of Yes. So there's a game called Vendetta, Curse of Raven's Cry, and it has just vanished from Steam. A lot of people are wondering why, specifically because there was a little bit of drama surrounding it, and then it disappeared and nobody's explaining anything. Basically what happened was in early 2015, there was a game that was called Raven's Cry that was put out. It had horrible issues, like lots and lots and lots of issues. People just either found it unplayable or just said that it was, playable but a bad game in general. So, oh hi Sherlock. So then the developers were like, alright, well, we'll take the game down. We've had a lot of problems developing it. We really shouldn't have released it. Our bad. So we'll keep working on it. We'll make it real cool. So then, Vendetta, Curse of Raven's Cry came out, and there's about a year from Raven's Cry to Vendetta, Curse of Raven's Cry, right? And Topware, the development company, said that really Curse of Raven's Cry represented what the game was supposed to be originally. That this was its true form, so to speak. Now, this game, some people have said, is okay. It's like alright. Still not good, still has some bugs, still has some problems. Which you might say, alright, well at least it improved, so what's the problem? The problem is that there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that's really pointing toward them, playing the system a little bit in terms of Steam reviews. There were lots of really positive reviews of this game, but from accounts that were directly linked to Topware games and forums and had only played the game for like an hour, maybe two. This accusation came right when the game came out in sort of a low-key way, and then once it blew up a bit more and more and more and more people were talking about it and more accusations were coming out, the game just disappeared. it completely disappeared from Steam, and no one knows why. Steam will not respond about it. Topware will not respond about it. The only thing that Topware has come out to say is, no, we did not hire anybody to go onto Steam and post positive reviews. So then you might say, why did that happen? It's possible that some of the developers were like, we just need to get like some of our friends or some of our family members to, make Steam accounts and then, play an hour or two of the game, or just like have the game running for an hour or two and then write a good review. Like something that'll just help the game launch well, because they were worried about it. Like that's, in my heart, that's what I want to believe happened. Is that there were developers who were like, oh, I'm just like so worried about the launch of the game, I'll just like get some of my friends, maybe my mom, to write a review that says it's real good, it's a good game, good job, guys. That did not work out. That obviously did not work out at all. Again, nobody knows why the game came down. There's a possibility, another possibility that I think is making a lot of sense, at least to me, is that because Topware has been doing really badly financially, once there was a lot of negative press going on about the game, they started to worry and just took the game down because they couldn't afford to really refund the game to a bunch of people once, some upset feelings were involved. So yeah, it's one of those strange Steam mysteries. We don't get those very often. Normally, eventually there's a paper trail. There's apparently no paper trail here. All of the basement Columbos are hard at work on the internet trying to figure out what went on with Curse of Raven's Cry. I say this as though millions of people in the world really care about this topic. That's not true at all. There's just like a few people who are like, this is weird, right? This is a weird situation. I think this is weird. So, as far as those people go, as far as those of us who are like, this is a weird situation, none of us have been able to find anything. But I guess we'll revisit this. I guess one day when we find out why Vendetta: Curse of Raven's Cry disappeared from the earth, we'll follow up. It's so sad though.
They named it the Curse of Raven's Cry, and then the same thing happened. Like they knew it was a curse and it was gonna go tits up.
But guys, this was a game about pirates. This was a game where it seemed like they were going to take all of the piratey goodness bits from Black Flag and then make a game out of it.
Think about it. The game was called Raven Cry, and the second time they released it, they called it The Curse of Raven's Cry, meaning that they were like, this game is cursed. We cannot make this game work. They knew. They got the quick bucks, and they pulled the plug.
They knew, Sherlock. And for our final piece of news, if you are someone who has been playing Street Fighter V at home, on the couch with your friends, using a controller, you've probably had a pretty okay time with it. You've probably been like, wow, this game is really fun, playing on the couch with my roommate using a controller. Unfortunately, for nearly everybody else, there have been so many problems. Problems to the tune of like 54% negative Steam reviews, which is like pretty bad. Basically what happened was, speaking of games that are horrible at launch, Street Fighter V launched with horrible server issues. Nobody could get into games. A lot of people were basically only seeing the menu, which is very sad. Training was like non-existent. Most fight sticks are not able to really work with the game, and you're having to do some weird keyboard mapping, and it's just been, oh my god, a huge headache for everyone. Most people haven't really been able to enjoy the game, which sucks. Capcom apologized, of course, and has been working on the issues. I think the assumption has been that the reason for this situation is because a lot of tournaments are coming up, and people need to be able to play this game in order to do well at tournaments like EVO. And so they wanted to make sure that the game came out early enough that people who were interested in competing would have plenty of time to train. Now, the reason why I think that is a really silly excuse is because they've had betas going, right? Like multiple betas. And in every single one of these betas, they've had these exact same problems. So why was it never fixed? Why did they not learn anything from their betas? Isn't that the point of the beta, to figure out how to fix server issues? Fortunately, as of yesterday, Capcom put out a press release saying, we've fixed most of the issues. We're pretty sure we fixed most of the issues. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that all different fight sticks are now going to work, because those are really more patches than fixes, right? If you have a newer fight stick, it should work totally fine. A lot of my friends that have really new fight sticks, or like the fight sticks that are specifically made for Street Fighter V, obviously those ones work. Of course, regular controllers work. The keyboard works if you can figure out what buttons are what. But if you have an older fight stick like I do, you're not going to be able to get it to work quite that easily. It's going to take a lot of dinkering around. But who knows, maybe in the next couple of days, that'll also be fixed. As far as server issues go, that should all be squeaky clean at this point. So if you've had problems and you've been waiting for a press release, I will link you guys to the press release and you can read all of it and see what they had to say, aside from being like, I'm so sorry that we're big weenie babies. What's your guys' experience been? Have you been able to play the game? Have you enjoyed the game? Like, have you had the same problems that it seems like all of my friends have had? Because I know a couple of people, like, the day of launch, I got a text from my friend being like, hey, do you want to come play some Street Fighter? Like, come over and play some Street Fighter? I was like, no, are you even able to play right now? Like, I'm so confused. I don't know. For some people, it was fine. But for nearly everyone else, lots of problems. Which seems to be the basic theme of this entire news episode. Games with problems. Games launching with problems. Games releasing with problems. Games with beta problems. Also TF2. Also Kojima doing cool stuff. But yeah, that's been my show. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to leave a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you'd like to have coffee with me, I haven't done one in forever. So you can watch older coffees if you would like. Or you can go look at my Twitch at twitch.tv/dexteritybonus, where I've basically been doing coffee times, but in stream form. So those are fun. I do a show called Saturday Morning Duker, where I just sit and talk with chat for like an hour. That's really fun. Literally just did that today. It was great. We did a British accent on it that everybody said was not terrible, which really shocked me and warmed my heart. But yeah, otherwise, guys, I hope you're having a great day. I hope that you're doing fantastic, and I will see you again next weekend. Okay? Bye-bye! Mwah!
Go.
We're going to show you a cinematic experience.